sheep, living in a daydream, in too deep, in too deep. I'ma give you everything, I'ma give you everything, forever everything. You want me, go no sleep, gonna keep it all G. On the same team, same damn team. Tell my body 6 feet, I'ma give you everything, forever everything. I'm that house phone Cadillac, drive like a maniac, killer like Zodiac. Shot to your cardiac, till the end, got your back, even when you're gonna crash. I'm still gonna ride with you, ride with you, ride with you. You know I'd die for you, die for you, die for you. Put it all on the line for you, just to keep it bulletproof. Stay with me tonight, I'll be your alibi. I'll be your alibi. Ready for the backlash, Sarah Connor combat. I'll be back, I'll be back. I'ma give you all I have, I'ma give you all I have, forever all I have. Keep you in my habitat, dedication to the max, never change that, won't change that. I'ma give you all I have, I'ma give you all I have, forever all I have. Yeah, we're different from the masses, we go back Jurassic, baby we're classic. With you to the casket, mellow the dramatic.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to go racing here at Brands Hatch for the round 5 here of Motive Racing's GTE Championship. Apologies for what's just happened, I don't know, you just have to be so on the ball when setting it up, it's ridiculous. You know, one little box isn't ticked and all of a sudden people can't hear you and you spend 15 minutes talking and no one hears a thing. But anyway, we're about to go racing here at Brands Hatch for round 5 of the season, the sprint race. Great lap from the only G there, taking pole position by just under 0.2 of a second to Stefano. Maz lining up in P3 with Dakatadu just behind him. Here we go, we are almost lights out here. We're about to go racing here for the sprint race for round 5 of Motor Racing's GTE Championship here at Brands Hatch. And it looks like we're underway, and it's a good start there from G on the right hand side. Gets away pretty nicely indeed. It looks like Stefano got a little bit bogged down off the line. Nakatari's already up into P3. It looks like Gizmo getting way out wide. What's he doing there? There's a big crash in the background coming through Paddock Hill. Huge crash. Looks like lots and lots of cars off onto the gravel. The only G gets through nicely. He's up into the lead. We've got Stefano, Dakatari, Ugbar, Fury, Fuster-Ciano in P6. Richie trying to fend off Rompu at the moment. Camber with Ratchidas and GM Flaky right behind him. DJ Phil running in P12, but Gizmo, Emo Guy, Dwayne Bop and Maz all involved in an accident there at the first corner, and we're not sure what that was there, but we'll be looking into that one without any inquiries. We won't be needing inquiries for that. We're going to be looking into that regardless. But we've got G leading the way at the moment by just under a second to Stefano. Dakatadu running just behind him. Ugbar P4, Fury, Fister, Richie, Rompu, GM Flaky, DJ Phil, Gizmo, Emo Guy, Dwayne, Maz, Ratchidas and Camber at the back of the field.
Round 5 here of Motor Racing's GTE Championship. Apology.
But good stuff there from the NEG, getting away nicely from pole position. Looks like Sebas is hounding and hassling him though as they come through this penultimate corner of the lap, but at the moment he can't quite find a way through. But that gets started running in P3 at this point. Ugbar P4, still Fury trying to fend off Fuster-Ciano. Fuster's having a little look here as he comes into the last turn, but he's a bit too far back to go for the move at the moment. Richie still tucking in behind these guys, and we got somebody into the pits. It looks like Fury coming into the box here to make his to repair some damage, I would assume, or maybe he jumped the start. That's gutting there for Fury in the yellow Ford GT, as we're currently seeing Stefano still looking for a way around the race leader, the only G. These two, the championship rivals here, coming into this one, starting this race 13 points apart. Sebas will be wanting to make some gains here in this race and close that gap down, but at the moment G doing a great job here of defending that position. Ugbar still running around in P3. Fuster with Richie starting to close in a little bit on him now. Gizmo, Emo Guy and DJ Phil running up behind these guys. We've got Dwayne. Oh, we've got a big battle going on here. We've got, it looks like Dwayne Bop is up ahead here of Maz, and looks like we've also got DJ Phil trying to make his way through as well. But DJ Phil knows up ahead of them, so it's Dwayne Bop, Dakatadu and Maz currently going 3 wide here as they come up towards the end of the back straight. It looks like we've got Dakatadu trying to look around the outside here of Maz, but he can't quite make it. He has to tuck in behind him for the time being. But this is great racing from all of these guys so far, keeping it clean, touch wood at the moment. We've also got a battle going on between Richie and Gizmo. It looks like Richie goes a little bit wide, and Gizmo surely senses opportunity. Can't quite make it move, can't quite make the move at the moment, but he's going to try and get a nice exit here as he come underneath the Brands Hatch bridge. You can see Gizmo pulling out to the left hand side there, trying to make a move at the inside, but there's no room, and Richie's going to hold on to that position for the time being. But that's brilliant racing so far from these guys in the early laps here of this race. And we can see there Richie go, Gizmo getting all sorts of out shape over the gravel there, and lost a little bit of time there, but Richie goes very wide there. Richie's into the barriers. No, Gizmo's into the barriers. Sorry, Gizmo is into the barriers at the top of Druids, and that loses him a lot of time there. He drops off the back of Richie and Emo Guy, and Dwayne Bop still leading a train here of 4 cars. Currently Dwayne, DJ Phil, Maz and Nakatadu battling over this 8th place at the moment. It doesn't look like DJ Phil's quite able to get around him at the moment, but looks like Maz is looking very under threat here from Nakatadu. Nakatadu is all over him as we come down the back straight. Still these guys line astern at the moment, no moves happening at this point, but incredible racing here on these opening couple of laps. We look back at the front, we've still got the only G holding off Stefano, not by very much though, and these guys always put on a good show. So far this season, they have really given it everything. It's been a bit of a duel between these lads so far, separated by 13 points, as we said, coming into this round, and G took the win at the Nürburgring. As we see, oh, it looks like Sebas making a move towards the inside of Paddock Hill. G gives him the space on the inside. Oh, nothing between these guys. As we see, Sebastefano is going to make the move up the inside and take that position. He's up into P1. The only G in the end has to concede it. What can he do now? Is he going to take the fight back to him here? As we see Sebastefano getting a little bit wide there onto the grass and almost giving the lead back to G. Just about keeping it on the track there. So close to bending it though was Sebastefano, but he is up into the lead of the race. Now what can G do? At this point, obviously, with Sebastefano in the lead, he would pick up 35 points for the win. He would gain 5 points in the championship on G, who is the championship leader. So I don't know at this point. G's probably got to go for it, because otherwise he's going to be losing 5 points, and Sebastefano will be cutting that championship lead from 13 down to 8. He's got to fight for this one as G, but then again, maybe he might be saving it for the feature race. We just don't know at this point, but still a long way to go here in this sprint race. Only 5 minutes in at the moment, as we see Sebas getting a little bit wide there, almost onto the gravel. He did touch up a little bit of that gravel there, and he's going to have to go defensive. It looks like he got a slowdown penalty, and he waves G by. G's up into P1 there. So that is mission done for G in terms of regaining that P1 position. But these guys are putting on a hell of a show up the front of the field. They've already pulled out 8 seconds back to Ugbar running in P3, who in turn is 4 seconds ahead of Fuster. We've got Richie currently sat in 5th at the moment, a couple of seconds up the road from Gizmo. We've got Dwayne Bot, Maz still running in P8 at this point. He's just behind Dwayne at this moment, but these guys pretty close on the track as well. We've got Emo Guy running in P9. Ratchidas looks like he's leading a 4-car train by the looks of it. GM Flaky, that guitar dude. Camber in the background might be closing in on these guys as well. This is turning into a very exciting race indeed. Looks like Emo Guy's got up into P8 there ahead of Gizmo. I didn't see what happened to Gizmo. He's falling backwards here in this race. He was right up there at the beginning, but something's happened here. I'm not quite sure what it is. And we can see here Gizmo we can see Ratchet has had a little look there on Gizmo. Oh, Gizmo goes wide, and it looks like he's been collected there. Oh no, somebody there has gone off and was sat on the side of the track, and ultimately Gizmo had nowhere to go and run straight into him. It was Richie there who had run off the track. He'd obviously had a moment, or something had happened. He was running in P5 earlier on, and Gizmo went wide, happened to go wide at that exact moment that Richie had gone off, and those guys having a simply monumental accident, which is only going to knock Gizmo back further, and probably didn't make any difference to Richie because he'd already gone off the track anyway, so he would have had to let everyone pass. But that is gutting there for Gizmo, and we see Richie there getting all sorts of out of shape there and almost skidding into the pit lane. That would have been a disqualification if that had happened, but he's now got Gizmo looking to his inside as they come down the pit straight. Is Richie going to try and defend his position? He's going to brake a little bit late. Gizmo nowhere to go, and Gizmo goes wide there onto the gravel on the outside of Paddock Hill. He's completely binned the car, and he's going to have to wait for Rompu to come past now. Rompu up into P15, Gizmo to the back of the field. That is disastrous there for Gizmo. Terrible start to this race after such a promising grid position in the qualifying session. Currently back to the race leaders though. We've got G leading the way by 0.8 of a second, just under a second to Sebastefano at this point. G last time around took a bit of time out of Sebastefano. He was 0.9 quicker, so at this point he has got the ascendancy just a little bit. We've got Ugbar is falling back into the clutches of Fuster a little bit. Number 21 orange livery Chevy is currently lapping in the 1:29 last time around, so he lost a hell of a lot of time to Fuster. Looks like Fuster having a little bit more consistency at this point in this sprint race. These guys coming around now to complete lap 6 of this race. Currently Fuster just nipping away at him, but actually last time around Ugbar responded a little bit. He took 0.8 back off of Fuster. As we see Dwayne Bop coming over the line, he's Currently got Maz closing in on him just a little bit at this point. Maz was 2/10 quicker on the previous lap, so not major differences, but certainly Maz will be looking to get this position as soon as possible and try and chase down Ogbar and Fuster for a potential podium tonight. That would be a hell of a performance if he can do that. Got Emo Guy currently sat in 7th place at the moment, running in mid-pack pretty much all by himself. He is closing in on these guys up ahead of him. We've got Ratchidas sat 8th at the moment. That guitar dude is all over him, pounding and hassling him. And we've also got Camber looking to the inside here of GM Flaky in the background. Is he going to make the move on him? It looks like he turns him round. Camber's just taking him out. And that's going to be a penalty there for Camber. It'll be a 10-point penalty for certain. That is a stonewall penalty for me. He's just completely sideswiped his rear end and taken him out. Camber doing GM Flaky very dirty there. In the meantime, back to this battle here for 7th place between for 8th place between Ratchidas and that Katadu. Currently that Katadu is still unable to find a way through, and it looks like Sebastefano has had a moment because he's dropped back off the race leader. These guys were running within a second of each other, but the only G last time around pulled out 9 seconds on our man from Argentina. So the two championship rivals seem to have been separated a little bit due to a mistake from Sebastefano. We didn't catch it on the stream, but he has dropped way off the championship leader. Still sat in P2. He's got to get it home and get the points on the board here in this race and minimise the loss in the championship. Came into this one 13 points behind G, and that is only going to make his situation worse because it will be 18 points after this sprint race if it does stay exactly how it is at this point. Currently got Dwayne Bop sat in P5 at the moment, trying to fend off Maz here as we come under the Brantats Bridge towards the end of this first sector here. You could see he's not quite able to get around him at the moment. Maz is still looking, hounding and hassling him, trying to find a way through, but Dwayne Bop's defending this position very, very nicely at this point, putting his car in all the right places, minus the rear wing. Obviously with the visual damage, that's not going to be a huge factor here in this race. But it's been a very good drive so far from Dwayne Bop, driving in P5 as we see. Oh, as I bring him up there, he's lost the car and I've spun it round, put it into the barriers there. Emo Guy's up into P6. That's promoted Maz up into 5th place now, and Ratchidas and that guitar dude are also now closing on Dwayne Bop as well. So he's thrown himself back into the mid pack there with a little, just a little mistake there, coming out of the second to last corner, dipping a wheel onto the grass and ultimately giving the position to those guys who have got up ahead of him now. That's a real shame there for Dwayne Bop. Got Camber still running in P10 at the moment. Obviously with that moment that we saw where he seemed to take out GM Flaky, he's still running 10 seconds up the road from him. GM Flaky's managed to get back past Fury. Fury has had a bit of a quiet race in this sprint race so far. He's not had the best ones tonight, running down in P12 in the yellow Ford GT. It's been a difficult one for him. I'm sure he'll be back in the feature race in a few moments time, but it's been an incredibly challenging evening so far for him. We got Gizmo running in 13th place at the moment. DJ Phil has got Richie closing in on him there. Richie, we believe, has been into the pits at some point as well. Got Rompu sat in the last place at the moment here in this race. But G at the front of the field, still pulling out his gap. In fact, he's got 20 seconds now to Sebastefano, who seems to have had an absolute nightmare on the previous lap, and he might have had another scruffy lap this time around as well, because he's definitely lost more than 3 seconds. As he comes over the line, let's see, yeah, he lost another 9 seconds to G on the last time around. If Sebas isn't careful, if he doesn't keep it consistent, he might end up losing this P2 to Ugbar, who is closing in, the Flying Dutchman, putting some quick lap times in, and he's also put some space between himself and Fuster Ciano as well. You can see there Ugbar's got a gap of 2.5 seconds to him. Fuster was closing in at one point, so it's good to see the Flying Dutchman responding to that pressure and getting the hammer down. We've got Maz running in clear air now in P5. He's got the opportunity to try and close in on Ugbar and Fuster. He might be able to do it in the later stages of this race. We're into the final third now of this sprint race. If he can keep up the sort of pace that he's doing, 1 minute 22s, then he might find himself in with a shot. 6 seconds with probably about 4 laps left to go. He needs maybe a small mistake or an uncharacteristic error from Ugbar or Fustaciano to put himself up in the mix. We've got Emo Guy still running in P6 at the moment, just about 4 seconds down the road from Maz. Dwayne Bop, a couple of seconds back from him. We've got Ratchidas there, sat in 8th place, just coming through the shot now in the Ferrari. Camber running in P9 at the moment. He has got that guitar dude very hot on his heels at the moment. Currently that guitar dude's still not finding a way through. It looks like he goes a little bit wide there onto the grass, keeping it in check just about though. Very, very close there to losing it. Oh, it's that guitar dude goes very, very wide there onto the grass, coming through the middle sector, and that would not have helped him one bit at all. He's trying to find a way past Camber, but that's given Camber a little bit of breathing room at this point. That guitar dude is still unable to get that move at the moment. Currently G leading the race by 20 seconds, just over 20 seconds to Sebas Stefano. Last time around Sebas did manage to steady the ship a little bit. He's done a 1 minute 22 last time around, which is only 1 second off of the race leader, but G is currently bossing this race. He is controlling it from out the front. It has been a spectacular performance from this man so far, and he's showing intent in getting this GTE Championship once again. He's the reigning champion of Motive Racing's GTE division, and he looks like he wants to make it another one. We've also got a battle here going on between P15 and 16. Rompu trying to, or it looks like DJ Phil actually trying to find a way past Rompu. These guys look like they might be closing in a little bit on Richie as well. Last time around Richie lost a bit of time. Currently running in P12. Richie's had an absolute disaster of a sprint race here tonight. I don't know what's happened to him. He's been well and truly out of sorts. It's not like Richie to be running that far down the field. Oh, as we see Richie there losing the car, coming through the second to last corner. He's binned it. He's got all over the place and into the wall. That's been promoted Rompu and DJ Phil up into 14th and 15th respectively. But Richie there just getting way out of shape as he got onto the power and ultimately losing lots of time. He's now down to last place here in this race. That is such a shame there for Richie. Came into this round in P4 in the championship standings, but that will have not done him any good at all. Looks like we've got Dwayne Bop here with Rachidas closing in on him a little bit now. Gap looks like it's almost under a second between these two. Currently the Ford holding on from the Ferrari. We've also got Camber running P9 at the moment with that guitar dude about 2.5 seconds behind him on the road. I wonder if that guitar dude can stage a last minute revival here in this race and maybe get himself up into that 9th place. We've seen a couple of mistakes and a bit of inconsistency from him tonight. Very unlike that guitar dude to see him making so many mistakes. Dwayne Bop still holding off Rachidas at the moment in this battle for 7th and 8th places. Let's look a bit up the order here. We've got Maz currently sat in 4th place with Fuster a couple of seconds behind him. Emo guy still a little bit of a way off of those guys, but Dwayne and Rachidas here very, very close here on the track at the moment. Under a second separating these guys with most likely 2 laps left to go here in this race. The only G is just coming up towards Druids now. I'm just going to say this is really, really upsetting me, the fact that the camera angle was so bad on this game now. They didn't used to be like this. When you used to change cameras, it used to change instantly. Now it just messes about and looks like you're flying over a bomb field or something. But anyway, the only G currently running in the race lead, 22 seconds is his gap at the moment at the front of the pack. He's driven a fantastic race. Had a bit of a fight from Sebas Stefano in the early stages of the race. In fact, it was Sebas who looked like he might be able to take the win at first, but G responded, got the hammer down and responded to the pressure very, very nicely. Seb Stefano went on to make a couple of mistakes which have dropped him way off of the race leader. He briefly had a bit of trouble from Ogbar, who was closing the gap, but it looks like he's weathered that storm and has pulled out 5 seconds to Ogbar, sat in P3, who in turn, it looks like he's pretty much pulling away now from Maz in 4th place. Maz looked like he might be on for a podium at one point in this race, but it looks like that particular charge seems to have died down for the time being. We've currently got Camber, Dwayne Bob, and it looks like Ratchetas as well getting involved with that Guitardo. These guys now absolutely bumper to bumper. That Guitardo gives Ratchetas a little bit of a bump up at the back as these guys come out onto the back straight now. Is that Guitardo going to find a way through as they come down this long straight underneath the bridge? It looks like he's a bit too far back on the brakes at the moment. In the foreground, you've also got Dwayne and Ratchetas giving it absolutely everything here. Camber and Ratchetas, Camber and Dwayne, I do apologise there, giving it absolutely everything for this 7th and 8th place. Currently Dwayne still unable to just find a way through at the moment. Camber defending the position very, very nicely indeed. Ratchetas, that guitar dude, oh, Ratchetas goes a little bit wide, and that guitar dude is going to pick up that position and move up into 9th place. Very nice there from that guitar dude. Ratchetas feeling the pressure a little bit too much, and that is that guitar dude into some clear air. Question is now, can he close in on these two fighting up ahead of him? Camber and Dwayne giving it everything here as they come over the line to start what is their final lap of the race. All to play for here on this final lap. Where's our race leader, the only G? He's just coming into the penultimate corner now. He's got a bit of traffic, but he shouldn't catch up to it before the checkered flag. Driving in the Ford GT, the black livery tonight, number 2, the only G, the reigning champion of the GT division, is going to extend his margin at the top of the standings. It was 13 points coming into this. It's going to be 18 now as we head into the feature race coming up in a few moments' time. The only G is the winner for tonight's sprint race. Seb Stefano is going to come round in 2nd place, a long way behind in the end. A dominant performance from the only G, it has to be said. In the end, Sebas gave him a little bit of a headache earlier on in the first part, but definitely G with the superior pace in the second half of the race. Seb Stefano is going to come round to take P2, and it looks like Ogbar's lost P3. Oh no, what's happened? He was 5 seconds ahead of Maz in P3. What has happened? And it seems like once again Ogbar's allergy to finish on the podium has manifested itself. Maz takes P3. Ogbar, what happened? Oh, Fuster comes over in P5. Emo guy comes round to finish in 6th place. Camber comes in 7th, and this battle for 8th place is going to go to the line. It looks like Dwayne's just about going to hold on ahead of that guitar dude to come in 8th place. That guitar dude comes over in 9th. Ratchetas completes the top 10. What a battle between those guys in the closing few laps. We're going to have Gizmo coming round the last turn now to finish in 11th place. Fantastic performance from Gizmo all evening, really. We've got Fury coming over in 12th place now. Well done to him. Looks like he actually inherited that 11th ahead of Gizmo based on the penalties. Couple of guys a lap down in this sprint race. So GM, Flaky, Rompu, DJ Phil, all a lap down at the end, as was Richie. Guys, stay tuned. Coming up for the feature race in a few moments' time. Stick around for the feature race qualifying session coming up in a couple of minutes. We'll be back very, very shortly.
C'est moi qui ferme le four, ça bibi, ça vide le stock. La madrina, voudrait la bague autour. 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 Les flics au cul, j'cours dans la tête. J'ai fait des caddies pour la pièce. J'prendrai de la S ou pas aux caisses. Au revoir, merci madame la Hesse. J'suis dans ma nouvelle caisse. J'suis dans ma nouvelle caisse. J'suis dans ma nouvelle caisse. J'suis dans le nouvel air, gars.
listening to your side. Holy fuck.
Welcome back to the Motive Racing channel, everybody, for the feature race qualifying session here at Brands Hatch this evening. We have got a very interesting qualifying session set up for you. As we see Camber there losing the car coming out of Druids, having just set the fastest lap time of the session so far. But yeah, as we say, we've got an interesting qualifying session because the top 5 finishing drivers from the sprint race all unable to finish or to qualify for the feature race. So that means that they have to sit this one out, which is going to allow the guys in the mid pack and towards the back of the pack in the sprint race to steal the march on them and potentially get themselves up the front with those guys stranded at the rear of the field. So as I say, it's going to throw an extra element into the hat. As we can see, times coming in thick and fast now here in this session. We've got Cinderella Tour currently top, but it looks like that guitar dude has just changed that. He goes P1 at the moment in this session on a 1 minute 21.4. That is a very solid lap time there from that guitar dude. Impressive stuff here in the early stages of this session. Very nice up there. Cinderella Tour currently sat P2 at the moment. Camber down to 3rd. Looks like we've got Sonic sat in 4th at the moment here. Just came over in P4. Good lap there. Richie, we saw him have an absolute mare in the sprint race earlier on. He really struggled for whatever reason. We're not quite sure if maybe it's a setup issue or maybe just lack of knowledge here of this Brands Hatch track. But we'll be hoping that Richie does make some improvements here in this feature race. I think he was down in last place in the sprint. Very, very surprising to see him down in that position. Nevertheless, it looks like Fury has just gone into P4 in the qualifying standings. That's a good lap there from Fury. Sonic's in 6th. Looks like Rompu's put it in P4 in the Porsche. Nice one there from Rompu, driving the number 91. Emo guy currently out there and on the lap. Currently 8th in the session at the moment. Zande sat P9 in classification. Let's see what Emo guy does here as he comes in towards the final part of the lap now. Have a look as he comes up and over the line now, and he improves his lap time a little bit there, up into 8th place, 4.5 seconds off of the provisional pole time. That guitar has improved his time at the top of the leaderboard, currently on a 1 minute 20.8. That's a very impressive time there from that guitar dude. Got a little bit unlucky in the sprint race. He'll be looking to make amends here in this one. He's getting off to a good start in going about it. Let's see, we've got Fury just coming out of the penultimate corner now, underneath the Brands Hatch bridge. Let's see what Fury can do here in his yellow and black number 8 Ford GT tonight as he exits the last turn now. What is this going to be for Fury CBK? Comes over the line, he stays P4 at the moment, can't improve his lap time. Fury's family once again out in force tonight. We've got Fury's granddad letting us know on the comments that our audio is working. Thank you, Fury's granddad. We've got Fury's mum saying, "Go Fury, go!" Fury's granddad, this was in the sprint race, mentioning it was a good start from Fury, but unfortunately, when Fury did get involved in a few incidents, Fury's granddad's comments were "oops," and you can understand what that was about. Other than that, Mark Nairn voicing his support for Ian, otherwise known as Emo Guy tonight. Alexandra Caruso, otherwise known as Zande, saying "good night gentlemen, good race everyone, and good transmission." And Ugbo was just letting me know about the audio. But guys, if you are watching live on YouTube or on Facebook, let us know in the comments section who you think is going to take this feature race. Currently that guitar dude looking very, very good for it, sat in P1 at the top of the order. What can Cinderella Tour do about it, or Camber, or any of these guys who are able to qualify for this session? There's a couple of guys down the bottom who unfortunately can't set a lap time here in this one. Guys like Sevas, Ugbar, Maz, G, Fusticiano not able to set a lap due to the fact that they finished in the top 5 in the sprint race. Ratchet, I'm not sure what he's doing in the pits. But regardless, it looks like Cinderella Tour's got a little bit closer to that guitar dude. He's currently within 0.8 of a second of him now here in this qualifying standings. He's just coming out of the last turn now. See if he can get a little bit closer to him. Comes up and over the line, and he stays P2 at the moment. Can't move himself up onto that pole position. We've got Dwayne Jones in the comments section saying Cinderella Tour is a dark horse for the podium here. Currently Cinderella Toro is sat provisionally on the front roadway, and so I've got to agree with you on that. Whether or not he can get a good jump off the line and find himself up into P1 coming into Paddock Hill Bend, we'll have to wait and see, but certainly he's got the potential to do so. Camber looks like he's coming to the pits from P3, so he's not going to try and get pole here. Got Rompu sat 4th at the moment, Fury sat in 5th, Sonic's Emo Guy, DJ Phil, the only guys out on track at the moment. I would like to say a big warm welcome to everybody watching us live on YouTube and Facebook, and if you're watching us on Facebook, I would love to suggest you to join us on our YouTube stream. Click on the link in the comments section down below, and it will take you over to our YouTube stream, whereas everything goes down here at Motive Racing. That's where we regularly stream to every single time we go live, and you can become a part of the action on the track if you want. If you click on the Discord link just down below, then that will take you your ticket to some of the cleanest, fastest sim racing on the PlayStation 4 platform. Definitely all well worth getting involved with. Currently that guitar dude's still holding provisional pole position. Cinderella Tour and Camber have both brought it into the pits, so it doesn't look like those guys are expecting to improve their lap time in the later part of this session. It's now on Rompu, maybe Sonics or Emo Guy to get a little bit closer here. Emo Guy just coming out of the last turn now for the final time here in this qualifying session. What is it going to be for him as he comes up towards the line? Ian goes, stays P8, looks like he couldn't improve on his final lap of the session there. We've got Sonics coming round, Rompu as well. Looks like that guitar is just coming to the end of the first sector. He's just come through the middle part of the lap now. So Rompu behind him on the track. Sonics is going to be the next person over the line, I think. Got 3 cars still on lap times here. So here he is, full throttle through the final bend now. What is it going to be for Sonics as he comes over the line? He goes P4 with that final lap. Very, very impressive stuff. See if that guitar can improve his up time. He can't, but obviously stays P1. So it's all on Rompu. See what Rompu can do here as he comes up towards the line now. Didn't look like he improved there. No, he didn't. He stays P5. So that is that, ladies and gentlemen, for the qualifying session. That guitar dude doing a brilliant lap there. 8/10 clear of Cinderella Tour. Camber Sonics rounding out row 2. So we're about to go racing here for the feature race, guys. Let us know in the comments section who you think is going to take this one. We've got a few comments coming in now. Dwayne Jones. That's Dwayne Bop there. Dwayne Jones. Brilliant. Good to have Dwayne Bop in the comments section. He was racing a few moments ago in the sprint race. He's now got the luxury of watching it on the trackside monitor tonight. Has gone back to his garage to watch it in the warm and comfort of his driver's room. We've also got Martin Story in the comments section, otherwise known as X-Mart. Was racing in our touring car division yesterday evening, and is says a very nice compliment there. Thank you very much, Martin Story. We've also got Dougie Afro Man saying Sonics to take a well-earned P14 in the race. Looking forward to it. I don't know if that's actually Sonics himself writing that or if that's one of his friends, but either way, that's some very good banter there from Dougie Afro Man. We've also got Fury's granddad saying, come on Fury, down to business, let's go. Well, Fury starting in 6th in this race, so he's up at the sharp end. He's now got to convert that strong grid position into a positive race finish. We have got 22 laps ahead of us, guys, for round 5 of Motor Racing's GTE Championship, the feature race here at Brands Hatch, coming up in a moment. Here we go then, guys. We're about to go racing here at Brands Hatch. We're just under the rolling start procedure now. It looks like there's a little bit of something going on in the background there. Hopefully it's nothing untoward, but We're just coming around the last corner now. That Qatar dude is going to lead us away here for the start of the race, with Cinderella Tour alongside him, Camber, Rompu, Richie and Zande behind them, and it looks like we are green here. We are underway for the feature race. Cinderella Tour immediately looking to the inside here of Paddock Hill in the end. That Qatar holds on to the lead. It looks like Camber and Rompu going side by side. Rompu is up into third place here as the cameraman just decides to take a day off there, coming through Paddock Hill, but Rompu is up into the lead there into P3. Zande has got himself into fifth. Looks like Sebastefano going a little bit wide there. Emo Guy having a look, but it looks like we're side by side here. Sebastefano manages to hold on to that P6 ahead of Emo Guy. Sonics going a little bit wide there onto the grass. Fury and Oakbar going side by side here. It looks like Fury, actually no, that's Oakbar trying to hold off Maz, and Maz has gone into Oakbar. Oakbar and Maz, big collision there, and it looks like Maz rejoins the track very unsafely, and in the end crashes into Richie. Richie nowhere to go in that debacle, and Maz down to P13 in the process. Disastrous start there for Maz, catching Ugbar and Richie in the process. That Qatar dude though is leading the race at the moment by just under a second to Cinderella Tour. Cinderella Tour very much keeping him within sight at the moment. Camber currently sat P4, Rompu running down in fourth place at the moment. Sebastefano, Emo Guy trying to fend off Zande at the moment. Sonics and Fury with the only G right behind them as well, as we see a lot of guys running very wide there onto the gravel, but at the moment it looks like G unable to shake off this strain. He's going to be wanting to make his way through as quickly as possible, is G, because his championship rival Sebastefano is already up into fifth place at the moment. But he's got a couple of guys going too wide in front of him here. You can see Sonics and Fury battling it out. So at the moment G has nowhere to go, and as they come over the line to complete lap one, it's Fury on the outside of Sonics. Can he make the move here? Fury very late on the brakes, keeping it brave, holding it round the outside. It looks like Fury's done the move. Fantastic job there from Fury. What an overtake around the outside of Paddock Hill Bend. He's got himself into 8th place here ahead of Sonics. G currently still sat just behind these guys in 10th place, but what a move there from Fury. A truly world-class overtake around the outside, and Fury's granddad has got to be very proud of that one, because that was a phenomenal overtake there, making up positions here in the early laps after a not great start. Very unlike Fury to see him having a slow start to a race, but he's making up for it already. That Qatar in the meantime currently leading this race by 1.3 seconds at the moment. Cinderella Tour sat P2. We've got Camber running in third at the moment. Rompu and Sebastefano just behind them. Emo Guy, KRB, Zande. It looks like Fury trying to fend these guys off, as we've got the only G diving up the inside there of Sonics, but I don't think he's going to be able to make it stick. Sonics is just about holding it on the outside there, and it's going to keep onto that position. Sonics goes very wide though, and that is going to allow the only G to pick up the position up into 9th place, and that's easily done there for G in the end. Sonics just getting a little bit deep. Dwayne Jones in the comments saying Maz is quick but loves the bump. He does indeed, Matt Dwayne. Unfortunately, he always seems to be getting involved in incidents, and now you mention Maz Twain, it does look like he's actually out of the race. He's retired the car for whatever reason, so it looks like Maz unfortunately had too much damage on the car to continue in the race. We're going back to the G at the moment, who's having to look up the inside here of Fury, but he can't quite make the move into Druids. Fury defending the position very nicely indeed. There is no way around him at the moment. G is hounding and hassling him, but for the time being it is Fury staying in that 8th place. Zande currently leading this train of cars. Emo Guy just behind him. G has another look up the inside of Fury, gives him a little bump. Oh, bit of a twitch there as G tries to back out of it, and almost coming to blows there, but ultimately it looks like they're able to keep it pointing in the right direction. Those guys losing a couple of seconds to Zande and Emo Guy though in the process of having that slight bit of contact, but at the moment it is as you were. Fury holding off G very nicely. Good driving from Fury at this early stage. We saw his move around the outside of Sonics, and he's keeping G at bay very well as well. It's obviously early doors at this point, but very impressive performance here in this feature race so far. It looks like up the field we've got that Qatar dude still leading the race at the moment by 3.4 seconds over Cinderella Tour. Camber running in P3. We've got Sebastefano, Rompu. These guys are all pretty close at the moment. Oh, his Rompu's gone off. We have got a yellow flag coming through the final turn. Rompu has gone off into the barriers, got a little bit too much gravel action I imagine on the outside of the corner, and he has binned it into the side of the truck, and he's lost a lot of time there, down into 11th place there in the process. Now almost 20 seconds off of the race leader. Disaster there for Rompu. In the meantime, though, the battle for P7 still heating up. G gives Fury a little bit of a bump there. Fury goes a bit wide, and G has to wait for him to get it together. Otherwise, he would have probably got a penalty for that one. But G now letting Fury know he's very much intent on picking up that position. He's going to be losing a bit of time. So the guy's up ahead. The more time he spends behind Fury. But it looks like Sebas has made a mistake because he's dropped back into the clutches of these guys now. These guys are now separated by absolutely nothing. P5, 6, 7 and 8. And in fact 9 as well, separated by, well, you can see there for yourselves, as we can see we've got Sebas currently leading a pack of G, Fury, Sonics and Ugbar in the background as well. Incredible racing so far in the early laps of this race. Currently Sebas as leading this pack, but you saw Sebas made some good progress in the early part of the race, found himself up into P5. He's obviously made a mistake and dropped back. Inconsistency has plagued him so far in this event, and G's got past Fury up into P6 there. It looks like Sebas getting out of it coming down this section, and Fury there losing a position to Cinderella Tour as well. So Cinderella Tour up into 7th place, Fury down to 8th, having a bit of a moment there coming through the final part of that lap. Got Martin Story saying G on fire, nice battle with Fury, absolutely. G's already up into 6th place, right behind Sebastefano now, and we've got somebody off coming through paddock hill. It's Emo Guy's lost it on the exit of the corner, put it onto the inside barrier. He's got it pointing in the right direction once again, but that would have lost him so much time. In the meantime, we've got Sebastefano still managing to hold off G, but G is on a mission tonight. He's made some fantastic progress so far in this race, and he's now right up the chuff here of his championship rival. We saw earlier on in the sprint race, G took 5 points out of Sebastefano. He was already leading the championship coming into this round by 13 points. He extended it to 18. If he can get in front of Sebastefano in this race, he could give himself a pretty easy task next week in the final round if he wants to wrap up the championship. But this is absolutely fantastic job from both of these guys tonight. You've got to remember that Sebas and G both started at the back of the grid due to the top 5 don't qualify rule. So when you take that into account, it's a very, very impressive performance for both of them. As we see Sebas getting a little bit deep onto the grass, G trying to go around the outside of him. Sebas has to give him the space there. G was all over the curb on the exit, but it looks like G's going to have the inside for the final turn, and he's going to have the position done surely. Yes, he does. And G's up into 4th place. Sebas gives him the space and allowed him the space to get up into the position. Over we see there, what's happened to Sebas? Sebas has had what's happened there? There's a bit of a glitch, I think. Sebas seemed to hit a wall on the inside of the track, and it's dropped him back a million miles. I'm incredibly confused about that. He seemed to hit an invisible wall, which is just, oh, that is actually gutting. That is actually so gutting for Sebastefano. In the meantime, I've got to carry on with the commentary. Enough about that. We've got the only G sat in 4th place. He's now into some clear air ahead of Cinderella Tour. Fury and Sonic still battling over 6th and 7th. Ugbar just behind them. But that is honestly horrible for Sebastefano. I can't think of a worse thing to happen, considering that he's in a championship battle with G. Those guys running bumper to bumper in 4th and 5th, and for that to happen is honestly really, really rough luck. And you know, I might mess about and say some things that I don't mean on commentary, but that is a real shame for Sebas. In the meantime, currently G obviously won the lottery in that regard, up in P4 now. He might have a chance of being closing in here on Zande up ahead of him. He's already sniffing that podium in these early laps, which is nothing short of incredible. We consider he started at the back of the grid. Obviously won the sprint race quite dominantly in the end by over 20 seconds. He's making some good progress so far. We've got a hell of a battle going on in the background though, guys. We've got currently Sonics trying to fend off Cinderella Tour at the moment. Sorry, it's Fury even. Fury is absolutely all over the back of his bumper here as we come out of Paddock Hill up towards Druid's Corner. Fury, is he going to go late on the brakes up the inside? He does indeed. Fury commits himself and he's up into 6th place now. Fury making more progress here in this race. Brilliant driving from him. Ugbar down to 8th, but Fury making some brilliant gains early on in this race, and currently a third of the way in. The pit window will be open at the end of this lap. Some of these guys will now be able to skip out the traffic that they've been having to negotiate for the entirety of this race. But currently we've got G closing in on Zande in 3rd place at the moment. Can definitely not be overstated the fact that Zande's done a fantastic job here in this race so far, running in P3. didn't have the easiest of sprint races, but he's definitely got some pace here around Brands Hatch, and we're currently seeing it at the moment. We've also got a couple of comments coming in. One from Fury's mum saying, keep it going, Fury. He's doing a great job at the moment. Fury's mum currently sat in 6th place. He's put a little bit of breathing space between himself and Sonics, but he obviously saw him making that pass on Sonics at the beginning of this lap, so he's keeping up the good work. We've got Dwayne Jones saying, I was just saying while watching Le Mans this weekend that it lacked what it lacked was invisible walls. Well, unfortunately, it's not really what we want here at Motive Racing, especially when we've got a championship battle going on. But I take your point, it definitely makes it more interesting, Dwayne. But as we see here, Fury just coming into the pits to make his mandatory pit stop now. Camber just coming out of his box towards the end of the pit lane. So these guys first to blink in a sense. We've got that guitar dude still leading the race by 13 seconds now over Zande. That guitar dude is well and truly made the most of this top 5 don't qualify rule, put it on pole position in our feature race qualifying session, and has just totally disappeared off into the distance. He is walking away with this feature race. We've got 13 laps to go. He's currently got 14 seconds back to G. Even if G were to make this move on Zande, which is looking like he's going to do, he's looking around the outside. Zande though, fighting it with everything he's got. I was going to say, if G can make this move on Zande and get it some clear air, he's still got so much to overhaul on that guitar. Oh, as we see these guys, absolutely nothing at all separating them. You could put barely anything between the wheels there as G came through, but he makes the move up into 2nd place. Zande in the end has to concede the position, and that guitar dude is now coming in for his mandatory pit stop. Very confusing move by that guitar dude. I'm not quite sure what he's doing there, because it would make a lot more sense for him to stay out. He's in some clear air, he's running up the front by himself, but regardless, he's into the pits. That Zande's still just behind G, but G obviously making that move up into P1. Now G in a position that he hasn't really been too used to so far in this feature race. He's got some clear air. I'm sure he'll be wanting to make the most of this and exploit the gap that he's got in front of him. He's got a lovely open road in which he can go as fast as he jolly well pleases, and this might be his opportunity to make some gains on that guitar dude who's just been into the pits for his mandatory pit stop. As that guitar dude, he was the race leader before this. He's got a bit of traffic up ahead of him though. He's obviously for track position as well, so there will be no blue flags. We've got guys like Zande, Cinderella Tour, Sonics and Emo Guy, all guys who that guitar dude is currently going faster than, but whether or not he's going to be able to make the move quickly or not is, well, obviously we'll have to wait and see in that regard. Dwayne Jones in the comments section saying, what a fantastic move there from G. Absolutely, Dwayne, it was really impressive here. There was no space on the inside there. It was literally a car's width, but that is all G needs. One of the best overtakers, probably I would say the best side-by-side racer in Motive Racing. He is one of those guys who can just put off an overtake when it looks impossible, and you can always have trust that he will be as clean as anything as well. And he is just coming into the pits for his mandatory pit stop. Slows it down to 37 miles an hour. That releases Zande off into the lead of the race, but it looks like what's going on here? So it looks like Cinderella Tour had to take evasive, or maybe Zande. Oh no! Zande runs into the back there of Cinderella Tour. We got a collision coming through the first turn, and Zande continues without concern. Cinderella Tour gets punted off there. I don't know what was going on. What was Zande doing? Cinderella Tour has to wait for a few cars to come by before rejoining the track, but that looked very dodgy there from Zande as he pushed Cinderella Tour out of the way. I don't know if maybe Cinderella Tour was braking early because he had a slowdown penalty, and maybe that made it look like he got taken out, but that was unbelievable. I can't quite believe what I've just seen there. Zande continues on his merry way, but we've got Sonics up behind him now. These guys bumper to bumper coming down the back straight, but Zande now down into wait, where is he? Where's he gone? Well, no, sorry, I mean Cinderella Tour down to P5, but Zande's just, I don't know, it was bizarre. But anyway, so Zande currently holding off Sonics in the battle for the lead at the moment. These guys got 4.5 seconds back to Emo Guy running in third. We've got that guitar dude who has already been in for his mandatory pit stop. So just to fill you guys in at the moment, everyone from 8th downwards has been in, and also 4th place man, that guitar dude, has been in. So that is the situation with the mandatory pit stops so far. Looks like somebody else has just come in. That's DJ Phil there just coming down towards the end of the pit lane. He will re-emerge in P14. We've got Cinderella Tour making his mandatory pit stop now as well. So obviously after that fairly hefty whack coming through turn 1 with Zande, he's dropped back into the mid-pack, and I'm sure he'll be wanting to get out of this pit lane as soon as possible and see what he can do in the last part of this race. We're half distance here for this feature race here. We've got Dwayne Jones saying, stewards, grab a coffee and dig in. It's going to be a busy one. I have a feeling you're right, Dwayne. It's been some good action. We've seen some fantastic racing on the whole, but there have been a couple of incidents which have definitely had me scratching my head. I'm wondering what exactly we're allowing to happen here. But Zande currently leading this race. He's got just over a second at the moment. 2 Sonics running in P2. Emo Guy is actually closing in on these two a little bit. The gap on the previous lap was 4.5 seconds. It's down to 4. But Emo Guy's going to have to watch out in his rearview mirrors in a moment, because he has definitely got that Guitar Dude closing in on him now. These guys are separated by about just over a second at this point. Now obviously that Guitar Dude has already been for his mandatory pit stop. Emo Guy has not. So once Emo Guy does come in, he should come out probably in the mid-pack, somewhere, probably around Fury, I would guess. But at this point, that Guitar Dude currently just biding his time. Obviously he's got the net race lead, in that he's 15 seconds ahead of G, who is the next car who has already been in. So when you take that into account, that Guitar Dude is the only man in the top 6, now the top 5, with Fuster coming into the pits. 2 have made his mandatory pit stop. So there we go. He's technically got a net 14-second lead in this race. That Guitar Dude is very much in the box seat at the moment, with 10 laps to go here in this race. Currently Zande still leading by 0.8 of a second. Sonic's keeping him in sight, not allowing him to disappear off into the distance. We've got Emo Guy still holding off that Guitar Dude at the moment for this P3 position. And we see there, it looks like we got that Guitar Dude going a little bit wide there onto the grass, but keeping it in check at the moment. Good to see. Emo Guy trying his absolute damnedest to keep him behind. These guys are both closing in now on those guys at the front, Zande and Sonics. Zande's picked up a penalty as well. We knew Sonics already had one. These guys separated by 0.4 of a second now as they come up towards the last turn. When are either of these boys going to come into the pits though? That's the question. Obviously they both still need to make their mandatory pit stop. Our man in P4 has already been in. Apart from that, none of the top 5 have been in. Only that Guitar Dude of the top 5 has already been in, and then everybody from 6 downwards has already made their mandatory pit stop. That Guitar Dude's still unable to find a way past our man in P3 at the moment, Emo Guy, and we see Emo Guy there losing the car, coming through Druids, and that Guitar Dude released into some clear air and up into 3rd place. That looked like Emo Guy lost it all by himself there, and then that Guitar Dude kind of helped him round. But there's nothing he could really do there, nowhere to go in that situation. That Guitar Dude up into some clear area. Emo Guy down into 4th place with Camber just behind him on the track. Shame there for Emo Guy, but it's only cost him about 3 or 4 seconds in the grand scheme of things. So I'm sure he'll keep at it and keep fighting here in this race. We've got G currently sat in 6th place at the moment, just a few seconds behind these guys. Already made his mandatory pit stop. He's closing in actually on that Guitar Dude at the moment. So the battle of the guys who have already been in for their stops currently looks like it might be a bit heated if that Guitar Dude ends up getting held up behind Zande and Sonics before they make their stops. Then it could very much play G into the fight for the race win. Still a long way to go here in this feature race. Just over 9 laps at the moment. Here we go, Zande and Sonics just starting their 14th lap of 22 here at Brands Hatch. Keep an eye on the back of the field. Looks like we've got Fuster closing a little bit on Rompu at the moment, but Fuster's going to be more worried about what's in his rear view mirrors, because Cinderella Tour is really putting the pressure on him at the moment. Absolutely nothing separating these guys now. Under a second between these two as we see, oh, and Fuster gets a little bit loose onto the grass. Cinderella Tour makes that position up into 11th place. The Ferrari seemed a little bit on edge, and the Ford is up into 11th place, now into some clear air. I'm sure Cinderella Tour will be wanting to chase down Rompu for that final top 10 spot at the moment. Looks like Zande's pulled out just over a second at the moment. 2 Sonics at the front. That Guitar Dude is closing on both of them, and obviously we've got to remember that Guitar Dude has already been in for his mandatory pit stop. These 2 at the front have not. So once that happens, that Guitar Dude will well and truly be in some clear air Emo Guy also still yet to come in for his mandatory pit stop, as is Camber. The only G has been in for his stop, but it looks like he had a total nightmare on the last time around. He lost 2 seconds to that guitar dude, and potentially his hopes of taking this feature race win are slipping away a little bit. Martin's story in the comments section saying G hunting that guitar dude down. Well, Martin, it looked like he was going to be making some gains a little while ago, but I think G's started to fall off the pace a little bit. The gap now back up to 12 seconds. It was 11 a couple of laps ago. I think that guitar dude has got enough of a buffer to bring it home and take the race victory at this point, as it looks like we've got Sonics and Emo Guy both coming into their mandatory pit stops on the same lap. KRB Zande still sticking with the race lead at this point. Currently got 3 seconds back to that guitar dude. Zande's got some great pace in these cars around this track. Very impressive performance from him tonight. Shame that he didn't get the sort of break that he would have wanted at the start of the race. If he'd been up with that guitar dude, he might have been fighting for a podium tonight. Who knows? But regardless, it's been a great drive from him so far. Camber running in 3rd place. Let's not forget about him. Currently doing a good job. Still yet to make his stop as far as we know. Now, last week at Donington, we did get a little bit confused actually over the situation with Camber's pit stop, so I will double check to make sure he didn't come in for a sneaky one at the start of the race, but I don't believe he did. But gap at the front, currently just under 2 seconds between Zande and that guitar dude at this point. What is happening with my computer? But currently Camber running within 9 seconds of the race leaders at the moment. G just keeping doing what he's doing, but the gap between that guitar dude and the only G currently sat at 12 seconds, still 12 seconds. I think that guitar dude has got to be the favourite for this race, when he's just got to bring it home now in these last 7 laps, which I'm sure he's more than capable of doing. It looks like Flying Dutchman Ugbar running in P5, falling back into the clutches a little bit of Sebas Stefano at the moment. Sebas on the previous lap 2 seconds quicker than him, currently 4 seconds separating them on the track, so I would guess that in about 2 or 3 laps maybe Sebas Stefano is going to be putting up onto the back of him. And we will see a fight for that 5th place. Sonic's running in 7th at the moment. Got Fury still going round in 8th. Foster, Rompu, Evo Guy, Richie and DJ Phil running round at the back of the field at the moment. Gap at the front, just under 1.4 seconds now between Zande and that guitar dude. Looks like Ian's had a bit of a mare in the pits because he's dropped way back down the field. I was expecting him to come out in the mid-pack. He's come out behind Rompu by the looks of it, so Emo Guy's had a bit of a nightmare. Didn't see exactly what happened there, but he's falling back a little bit now. As we see, G has actually closed the gap to that guitar dude on the last couple of laps. It's down to 10 seconds, but with only 6 laps left in this race, it's surely just going to be a case of that guitar dude nursing the car home and bringing it to the checkered flag. That guitar dude made use of the qualifying rules for the feature race. Obviously the top 5 from the sprint cannot set a timed lap in the feature race qualifying session, so it's a randomised grid for those guys at the back of the field, and essentially that guitar dude put it on pole position and walked off into the distance in the opening few laps. Found himself with about 14-second gap to G, I think, when they came into the pits. G's got that down to 10 now, but as I say, we're reaching the closing stages now. That guitar dude's just got to keep it on the island, keep doing what he's doing, and he will have that race win in the bag. He's dropped off a little bit actually off of Zande on this previous lap though, so let's keep an eye on the split times, top left hand corner of the screen, and see what lap times they're doing. So in that previous lap, that guitar dude did do a 1:23, so he lost a little bit more time to G. See what that sort of lap time G does as he comes over the line. You can see there DJ Phil moving out of the way there on the left hand side, that yellow BMW, good to see. Thank you, Phil. But G there took another second out of that guitar dude. 5 laps left to go. The gap between them still, actually it's come right down now. It's now down at 9 seconds here. 5 to go, 9 seconds separating that guitar dude and the only G. Is G going to be able to overhaul him in the very, very late stages of this race? We're talking last lap, I suppose. It is going to be very nip and tuck. Looks like G's got to get past Camber first. Camber still yet to make his mandatory pit stop at some point in this race. We're not exactly sure when he is going to be making it, but it's got to be pretty soon, you would imagine. It looks like Zande has come into the pits for his stop, so that releases that guitar dude into some clear air. Let's keep an eye on the gap between that guitar dude and G. It's now down at 8 seconds here, but with only 4 laps to go, G's going to have to consistently go 2 seconds a lap faster than that guitar dude if he wants this win. I can't see it happening at this stage. I think G has left it too little too late, down to 7.7. But also we can't forget that G's got to get past Camber first. Now let me just double check to make sure that Camber has actually not been in, because I don't think he has. But then again, he played this trick on us last week. He kind of kept a low profile, pitted on the first lap that the pit lane was open, and then yeah, the rest is history. So I don't know. Let's have a look. He has indeed. Camber did come in on lap 7, so this is for track position between Camber and the only G. It's incredible. Camber got to be the most improved driver so far in this GTE season, for real. I mean, the guy's gone from mid-pack to being at the sharp end over the last few races, and he now finds himself in between that guitar and G. G is hunting down the race leader, but he's got to get past Camber first. Our Belgian 36-year-old currently keeping on to this P2 at the moment. I wonder if G is going to go for a reckless one, going to try and make a dive up the inside, knowing that he needs to get this move done if he wants to win this race. 3 laps left to go here at Brands Hatch for the feature race here for Motive Racing's GTE Championship here. This is round 10, or race 10 of 12, round 5 of 6. And things are getting very, very heated now. G currently in a position where he would extend the gap in the championship over Seb Stefano in the point standings. Who knows, maybe that guitar dude, if he can keep doing what he's doing, might close the gap and maybe keep himself in with an outside shot of taking the title next week in our final round. And I reiterate, it will be an outside shot, a very unlikely one, but you just never know in racing. And at the moment he's doing what he has to do. He's ran off into the distance here in this race. Still G. It looks like G's made the move on Camber. He's up into P2 there. We missed that one, but G's got himself into some clear air. 6.5 seconds behind the race leader though. I don't think he's going to be able to overhaul him and take the race victory, but nice one there from G, getting himself up into that P2 position. Camber still running on the podium. Zande currently running in P4. Seb Stefano completely running in the final top 5 spot at the moment. Looks like he's too far behind Zande to be in with a shout of finishing in 4th. So Sebas will lose more points to G. G has got to be a very hot favourite for this GTE Championship now. Won it last season. It's looking good for the double, but he's not going to be too worried about that just at this moment. He's going to have his focus very much on getting up into that first place here on that guitar dude. We're just seeing somebody retiring from the race on the second last lap, so they've just thrown their points away. I don't know what some people, man. Anyway, the energy is still running 5.5 seconds off of the race leader at this point, lapping around a second a lap faster, but I don't think it's going to be enough time in this race for him to get ahead of that guitar dude. Looking back in the pack, we've currently got Ugbar running in 6th place, Fury a couple of seconds behind him in 7th, Fustaciano, Rompu Emo Guy completing the top 10 at this point. We saw Emo Guy was there or thereabouts in the early part of the race, but it's unfortunately gone a little bit wrong for him later on. The pit stops could not have gone worse for him, really. Richie currently running in 11th, DJ Phil 12th at this point. That guitar dude still doing what he has to do out the front though, bossing this race. Has got a 5.3 second lead over G at this point. As we see DJ Phil there pulling off to the side, allowing that guitar dude to pick up that position into some clear air once again. Gap at the front 4.4 seconds, but it looks like that guitar dude should be able to hold on for this win. G's been lapping about a second and a half faster for the last few laps, but surely it's going to be too little too late and that guitar dude will take another win this season. That guitar dude can take the win tonight. It will be his second victory of the season. He took the feature race win at the Nürburgring GP, which was sort of given to him on the plate after G had that mistake when he came down the hill into the final sector, coming through the valley section there. But that guitar dude came into this round third in the championship, 51 points behind G in the standings. He is going to keep himself just about in with a shot of taking the championship next week. He's going to need a miracle to finish the champion, but he is the race winner in the feature race tonight at Brands Hatch. Great job from that guitar dude. The only G comes round to complete the top two. Camber on the podium for the second week in a row. Great job from him. Missed his pit stop completely, but I'm glad that I looked back on the stream and found it. Otherwise that would have been a second embarrassment in the space of 2 weeks. Seba Stefano is going to come round and bring it home in fourth. So he will lose 5 points to G over this feature race. So overall in this event he's lost 10 points. He'll go into the final round of the season 23 points behind G, which means that he needs pretty much to win both races next week at Silverstone, and he'll need G to mess up in some way or another. But Sebas comes over in fourth. Sonic's a brilliant P5 in this feature race. Ogbar comes over in sixth. We've got Fusticiano, who looks like he's going to hold on here ahead of Fury for this 7th place. Great drive from both those guys. Fuster 7th, Fury in 8th. Rompu coming over the line in 9th place. Emo Guy completing the top 10. And that is that, ladies and gentlemen. So that guitar dude takes his second win of the season here in the GTEs at Motive Racing. The only G once again on the podium. Only 2 races out of 10 this season that G has not been on the podium here in these GTEs. Camber in 3rd place tonight. Gets his second podium of the season after last week's brilliant drive at Donington Park. Seba Stefano losing a lot of points to G, as we said. It all comes down to next week, guys. Make sure you tune in for our finale at Silverstone. It's going to be between G, Sebas and that guitar dude coming into it with a very long shot. And I admit and I reiterate, a very long shot for that guitar dude taking the title. But nevertheless, he can mathematically do it. So make sure you tune in next week, guys. As I said, Silverstone, 8 PM BST, that's UK time. We're going to get off now. Make sure you join us tomorrow evening for the Clio Cup, live from 7 PM for Tier 2, then 8 PM for Tier 1. But from us, it's good night, have a lovely evening, and we'll see you later.